for us, for Zepto, and like we're firmly in the account to account space and like instant and real time. That's what I guess the appeal to us is as we look to the US with an intent that at some point we want to take our technology and be able to enable and support businesses in the US. Could you give us a little bit of an overview of how to think about the rail? There's not a single rail for real-time payment. And again, we've sort of just talked about ACH and same-day ACH as being quite relevant to in Australia. If you wanted that, you're not going through the traditional direct entry. There is certain elements you could approach, or you could go through instant. But could you give us a little bit of context about the real-time payment rails that complement that?
Yeah, that is such a fascinating way that things have evolved here. Maybe 5 years ago, we started with the first instant payment rail. That it was, national open loop for all the banks, and of course, you can put the digital wallets in a different bucket. They're instant, right? Cards are instant in many regards as well. So we have the clearinghouse, which is the bank-owned association of payment services. They provide payment services. They have a wire system. They have a check clearing, and they also have an ACH. And they stood up the first instant payment system, and they called it RTP. It's new. There was no mandate. And we all had, it's ISO based. That was also a big difference. So people had to sort of, or the institutions had to sort of, find their place within it. But yet without a mandate, there's also not a instant, well, pardon the pun, there's not a simultaneous receiver network, right? Yeah. So it's this whole chicken and egg thing that we're still actually in, and then enter.
Just on that point, just to make it clear to the audience, when you say mandate, like government mandate or central bank mandate, to say that all banks need to engage and become, connected for real-time payment connectivity. So in the States right now, if you're a bank, and there are 9,000 banks out there, it is optional for you in the context of the community or your customers, whether or not you want to technically build out the functionality to provide real-time payments, and in this case, RTP capability from your bank. Yeah. So very different to Australia, where it was mandated and all the banks now have to be engaged in MPP, and we've got accessibility to bank accounts, call it 95%. That is obviously not the case in the States.
Yeah, you could, and it's often argued that the financial institutions that are on RTP are the largest, right? And so you have reach into more consumer and business bank accounts. I think that's a little bit of an overstatement because, maybe not all of those accounts are being allowed to receive these transactions or certainly send one. So it's much more of a jumble right now, the puzzle we're trying to fit together. And actually, at the same time they formed RTP, it's really around that time that we also got Zelle, which is virtually owned by the same group of financial institutions that own the clearinghouse. And Zelle was really focused on just the P2P use case. It's starting to move into business transactions now with a sister network called Pays, but some of the same things. And a big differentiator between RTP and Zelle is that Zelle has a directory of all the financial institutions and their clients, right? So yes. I can send you a transfer just with your mobile or email number.
Yes.